Don't mind anybody mowing their lawn. Also sitting back here, so if Forrest makes his way in, you will be able to see him because I know that's why everyone's actually here. Also, did my nails yesterday, so I feel like a totally new person. Anyone else? Go up second. Willing to die. It doesn't come in a flash, a sudden epiphany. It happens slowly, a balloon leak in reverse. The sight of Ollie crying alone on his porch will not leave me. I pore over the pictures that he sent from school. I make myself a place in every single one. Maddie in the library. Maddie standing next to Ollie's locker waiting to go to class. Maddie as girl most likely to. I memorize every inch of my family photo, trying to divine its secrets. I marvel at the not sick Maddie, baby Maddie, her life stretching before her with endless possibility. Ever since Ollie came into my life, there have been two Maddies. The one who lives through books and doesn't want to die, and the one who lives and suspects that death will be a small price to pay for it. The first Maddie is surprised at the direction of her thoughts. The second Maddie, the one from the Hawaii photograph, she's like a god, impervious to cold, famine, disease, natural and man-made disasters. She's impervious to heartbreak. The second Maddie knows that this pale half-life is not really living. Goodbye. It's a handwritten note. Dear Mom, the first thing is that I love you. You already know that, but I may not get the chance to tell you again. So, I love you. I love you, I love you. You're smart and strong and kind and selfless. I couldn't have wished for a better mom. You're not going to understand what I'm going to say. I don't know if I understand it myself. Because of you, I'm alive, Mom, and so grateful for that. Because of you, I've survived this long and gotten a chance to know my small part of the world. But it's not enough. It's not your fault. It's this impossible life. I'm not doing this just because of Ollie, or maybe I am. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's Ollie and it's not Ollie at the same time. It's like I can't look at the world in the old way anymore. I found this new part of myself when I met him, and the new part doesn't know how to stay quiet and still and just observe. Do you remember when we read The Little Prince together for the first time? I was so upset that he died in the end. I didn't understand how he could choose death just so he could get back to his rose. I think I understand it now. He wasn't choosing to die. His rose was his whole life. Without her, he wasn't really alive. I don't know, Mom. I don't know what I'm doing, only that I have to. Sometimes I wish I could go back to the way I was before I knew anything. But I can't. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I love you. Maddie. Other worlds. Oh, wait. Skipped something on accident. The five senses. Hearing. The alarm's keypad tries to announce my escape by emitting a loud beep each time I press a number. I can only hope that the sound is too unexpected and my mom's room too far from the door for her to hear it. The door unseals with a sigh. I'm outside. The world is so quiet, it roars. Touch. The front door handle is metal, cool and smooth, almost slippery. It's easy to let go of it, and I do. Sight. It's 4 a.m. and too dark for detail. My eyes take in only the general shape of things, fuzzy silhouettes against the night sky. Large tree, smaller tree, steps, garden, stone path leading to a gate with a picket fence on either side. Gate, gate, gate. Forrest has chosen to lay down over there. You can't see him. Most unfortunate. Smell. I'm in Ollie's garden. The air is full, ripe with scent, flowers, earth, my expanding fear. I store it away in my lungs. I toss pebbles at his window, willing him to come out. Taste. Ollie is in front of me, stunned. I don't say anything. I press my lips to his. At first, he's frozen, uncertain and unyielding, and then he's not. All at once, he pulls me tight against him. One of his hands is in my hair, and the other one is gripping my waist. He tastes just like I remember. Other worlds. We come to our senses. Well, Ollie comes to his. He pulls away, grips my shoulders with both hands. What are you doing here? Are you all right? Is something wrong? Is your mom okay? I'm all bravado. I'm fine. She's fine. I'm running away. The light from his room above casts just enough light so I can see confusion across the planes of his face. I don't understand, he says. I take a deep breath, but freeze midway. The night air is cold and moist and heavy and completely unlike any air I've ever breathed. I try to unbreathe it, to expel it from my lungs. My lips tingle and I'm lightheaded. Is that just fear, or is it something else? Maddie, he whispers against my ear, what have you done? I can't answer. My throat is blocked like I've swallowed a stone. Try not to breathe, he says, and starts guiding me back to my house. I let him pull me for a second, maybe two, but then I stop moving. What is it? Can you walk? Do you need me to carry you? I shake my head and pull my hand from his. I take a sip of night air. I said, I'm running away. He makes a sound like a growl. What are you talking about? Do you have a death wish? 4. Random barking. Opposite, I say. Will you help me? With what? I don't have a car. I don't know how to drive. I don't know anything about the world. He makes another sound halfway between a growl and a laugh. I wish I could see his eyes in the dark. Something slams. A door? I grab his hands and pull us both flat against the side of his house. What was that? Jesus, a door from my house. I press myself flatter against the wall, trying to disappear. I peek over the path leading from my house, fully expecting to see my mother coming down it. Bubba. Hi, baby. But she's not there. I close my eyes. Take me to the roof. Maddie, I'll explain everything. My entire plan hangs on him helping me. I didn't really consider what would happen if he refused. We are quiet for 1 breath, and then 2, and then 3. He takes my hand and guides me around to the side of his house furthest from mine. There's a tall ladder leading to the roof. Are you afraid of heights? He asks. I don't know. I start climbing. I duck down as soon as we get to the roof, but Ollie says there's no need. At first, I'm not sure what I'm looking at. It's like reading I keep skipping pages, I'm so sorry. Most people don't look up anyway, he says. It takes a few minutes for my heart to return to normal. Ollie folds himself down with his usual unusual grace. I'm happy to watch him move. So, what now, he asks, after a time. I look around. I'd always wanted to know what he did up here. The roof is gabbled in parts, but we're sitting on a flat section toward the back. I make out shapes. A small wooden table with a mug, a lamp, and some crumpled papers. Maybe he writes up here, composes bad poetry, limericks. Does that lamp work? I ask. He wordlessly turns it on and casts a diffuse circle of light around us. I'm almost afraid to look at him. The crumpled papers on the table are fast food wrappers. Not a secret poet, then. Next to the table, there's a dusty gray tarp covering something, or some things. The ground is littered with tools, wrenches, wire cutters in various sizes, hammers, and a few others that I don't recognize. There's even a blowtorch. I finally look over at him. His elbows are on his knees, and he's staring out at the slowly brightening sky. What do you do up here? I ask. That can't possibly matter right now. His voice is hard, and he doesn't look at me. There's no trace of the boy who kissed me so desperately a few minutes ago. His fear for me has crowded everything else out. Sometimes you do things for the right reasons, and sometimes for the wrong ones, and sometimes it's possible to tell the difference. Allie's girlfriend and her 2 brothers have arrived. And that was Bubba. Bubba, quit! I have pills, I say. He's barely moving as it is, but now he grows completely still. What pills? They're experimental, not FDA approved. I ordered them online, from Canada. The lie is easy, effortless. Online? How do you know they're safe? I did a lot of research, but still, you can't be sure. I'm not reckless. I hold his eyes. These lies are for his own protection. Already, he looks relieved. I press on. They should give me a few days outside. I didn't tell my mom because she wouldn't want to risk it, but because it's risky. You just said they're not FDA. They're safe enough for a few days. My tone holds no doubt. I wait, hoping that he will swallow the lie. Jesus. He drops his hand into his face into his hands and holds it there. When he looks up, it's a less obstinate Ollie staring back at me. Even his voice softens. You could have told me this 5 minutes ago. Make my best effort to lighten the mood. We were kissing, and then you were getting angry with me. I'm blushing from the talk of kissing and from my easy lying. I was going to tell you. I am telling you. I just did. He's much too smart to fall for this, but he wants it to be true. He wants it to be true more than he wants the truth. The smile that breaks across his face is cautious, but so beautiful that I can't look away. I would lie to him again for that smile. Now, I say, what's under that thing? He hands me a corner of the tarp and I pull it aside. At first, I'm not sure what I'm looking at. It's like reading a seemingly random collection of words before the sentence becomes clear. It's beautiful, I say. It's called an orrery. This is what you've been doing up here? Making universes? He shrugs. A small wind blows and the planet spins slowly. We both watch their motion without speaking. Are you sure about this? Doubt has crept back into his voice. Please help me, Ollie, please. I point to the orrery. I need to escape too, just for a little while. He nods. Where do you want to go? This is like the drawing of the thing that he's building, and this is an email. Aloha means hello and goodbye, part 2. Mahalo for choosing Plumeria Airlines. Get ready to say aloha, your flight details are below. Confirmation number, departing on October 10th, 2014 at 7 a.m. from LAX Los Angeles to Kahului, Hawaii for Madeline Whittier, coach seat 21F, and Oliver Bright, coach 21E. Happy already. Mads, be serious, we can't go to Hawaii. Why not? I got us plane tickets, I booked us a hotel. We're sitting in Ollie's car in the driveway. He puts the key in the ignition, but doesn't turn it. Are you kidding? He asks, scrutinizing my face for evidence that I'm kidding. He doesn't find any and begins shaking his head slowly. Hawaii is 3,000 miles away. Hence the airplane. He ignores my attempt at levity. You're serious. When did you do this? How? Why? One more question and you'll have a fast 5, I say. He leans forward, presses his forehead into the steering wheel. Last night, with a credit card, because I want to see the world. You have a credit card? I got my own a few weeks ago. There are perks to hanging out with an older woman. He pulls his forehead off the wheel, but still stares straight ahead, not meeting my eyes. What if something happens to you? Nothing will, but what if it does? I have the pills, Ollie. They're going to work. He squeezes his eyes shut and puts his hand on the key. You know, we have plenty of world right here in Southern California. But no, huma nuka apple eye. A small half smile forms at the corner of his lips. I need to make it spread across his entire face. He turns to face me. What are you talking about? The huma nuka apple eye. What is a huma whatever? The state fish of Hawaii. His smile broadens. Of course it is. He turns the key in the ignition. His eyes linger on his house and his smile fades, just slightly. How long? 2 nights. Okay. He grabs my hand and gives it a quick kiss. Let's go see this fish. 4! 4! 4! Quit it! Ollie's mood gets lighter somehow, the farther away from his house that we get. This trip gives him the perfect excuse to let go of the burden of his family, for a little while at least. Also, an old friend of his from New York, Zach, lives in Maui. You'll love him, he tells me. I'll love everything, I respond. Our flight's not until 7 a.m., and I have a detour I want to make. Being in his car is like being in a very loud, very fast-moving bubble. He refuses to open the windows. Instead, he presses a button on the dashboard that prevents air circulation. The sound of the tires on asphalt is like someone hissing low and constant into my ears. I fight the urge to cover them. Ollie says we're not going very fast, but to me we're hurtling through space. I've read that passengers on high-speed trains say that the world outside the train blurs from the speed. I know we're not going anywhere near that fast, but still, the landscape moves too quickly for my slow eyes to hold on to. I barely catch glimpses of houses in the brown hills in the distance. Overhead signs with cryptic symbols and writing come and go before I can decipher them. Bumper stickers and license plates appear and disappear in a blink. Even though I understand the physics of it, I find it strange that my body could be moving though I am sitting still. Well, not exactly still. I'm pushed backward into my seat whenever Ollie accelerates, and I lurch forward whenever he brakes. Every so often, we slow down enough and I can see other people in their cars. We pass a woman shaking her head and slapping at the steering wheel with her hands. Only after we've passed her do I figure out that she's probably dancing to music. 2 kids in the back of another car stick their tongues out at me and laugh. I don't do anything because I'm not sure what the etiquette is for that. Gradually, we slow down to a more human speed and leave the highway. Where are we? I ask. She lives in Koreatown. My head buzzes from trying to look everywhere at once. There are brightly lit signs and billboards written only in Korean. Since I can't read the language, the signs seem like art pieces with beautiful, mysterious forms. And Forrest has been ignoring his girlfriend, and yet is now mad that she will not give him any attention. Baba, quit it! Of course, they probably just say things as mundane as restaurant or pharmacy or open 24 hours. It's early, but there still are so many people doing so many things. Walking or talking or sitting or standing or running or riding bicycles. I don't quite believe they're really real. They're just like the minifigures I pose in my architecture models, here to give Koreatown the vigor of life. Or maybe it's me that's not really real, not really here at all. We drive along for a few minutes more. Eventually, we pull up to a 2-story apartment complex with a fountain in the courtyard. Ollie undoes his seatbelt but makes no move to leave the car. Nothing can happen to you, he says. I reach over and take his hand. Thank you, is all I can think to say. I want to tell him that it's his fault that I'm out here. That love opens you up to the world. I was happy before I met him, but I'm alive now, and those are not the same thing. Infected. Carla screams and covers her face when she first sees me. Are you a ghost? She grabs my shoulder, squeezes me against her bosom, rocks me side to side, and then squeezes me again. I don't have any air left in my lungs when she's finished. What are you doing here? You can't be here, she says, still squeezing me. I'm happy to see you too, I squeak. She pulls away, shakes her head as if I were some kind of miracle, and pulls me back in for more. Oh, my girl, she says. Oh, how I've missed you. She holds my face in her hands. I missed you too. I'm so sorry about... Stop. You don't have anything to be sorry for. You lost your job because of me. She shrugs. I got another one. Besides, it's you that I miss. I miss you too. Your mama did what she had to do. I don't want to think about my mom, so I look around for Ollie, who's standing off in the distance. You remember Ollie? I say. How could I forget that face? And that body, she says, definitely loud enough for him to hear. She marches over to him and pulls him into a hug only slightly more restrained than the one she gave me. You taking care of our girl? She pulls away and pats him a little too hard on his cheek. Ollie rubs it. I'm doing my best. I don't know if you know this, but she can be a little stubborn. Carla looks back and forth at us for a second, noting the tension between us. We're still standing in her doorway. Come inside, she says. We didn't think you would be awake so early, I say as we enter. You stop sleeping when you get old. You'll see. I want to ask, will I ever grow old? But instead I ask, is Rosa here? Upstairs, asleep. You want me to wake her? We don't have time. I just wanted to see you. She takes my face into her hands again and re-examines me, this time with nurse's eyes. I must have missed a lot of things. What are you doing here? How are you feeling? Ollie steps closer, wanting to hear my answer. I wrap my arms around my stomach. I'm great, I say, far too brightly. Tell her about the pills, Ollie says. What pills? Carla demands, looking only at me. We got pills. Experimental ones. I know your mama didn't give you anything experimental. I got them on my own. Mom doesn't know. She nods, validated. From where? I tell her the same thing I told Ollie, but she doesn't believe me, not for a second. She covers her mouth with her hand and her eyes are cartoon big. I put my heart into my eyes and plead with her silently. Please, Carla, please understand. Please don't expose me. You just said life is a gift. She looks away and rubs small circles into a spot above her bosom. You must be hungry. I'll make you some breakfast. She directs us to sit on a bright yellow overstuffed couch before disappearing into the kitchen. This is exactly the way I pictured her house, I say to Ollie as soon as she's gone. I don't want him asking any questions about the pills. Neither of us sits. I move a step or two away from him. The walls are painted in primary colors. Knickknacks and photos cover almost every surface. She seems okay with the pills, Ollie says finally. He moves closer, but I tense up. I'm afraid he'll be able to feel the lies on my skin. I wander around the living room, looking at photos of generations of women who all look like Carla. An enormous one of her holding Rosa when she was a baby hangs over a love seat. Something about the photo reminds me of my mom. It's the way she's looking at Rosa with not only love, but a kind of fierceness too, like she would do anything to protect her. I'll never be able to repay her for all she's done for me. Carla makes us a breakfast of chilaquiles, corn tortillas with salsa and cheese, and crema mexicana, which is something like creme fraiche. It is delicious and new, but I only have a single bite. I'm too nervous for food. So, Carla, in your professional opinion, do you really think the pills are working? Ollie asks. His voice is overflowing with optimism. Maybe, she says, but shakes her head as she says it. I don't want to give you false hope. Tell me, I say. I need to ask her why I'm not sick yet, but I can't. I'm trapped by my lies. It could be the pills are delaying your sickness. Even without any pills, it could be you just haven't met any of your triggers yet. Or it could be that the pills are working, Ollie says. He's moved beyond hope. As far as he's concerned, these pills are a miracle. Carla pats Ollie's hand from across the table. You're a good egg, she tells him. He avoids looking at me and takes our plates and goes to the kitchen. I follow behind her, shame making me slow. Thank you. She dries her hand on a towel. I understand you. I understand why you're out here. I might die, Carla. She wets a dishcloth and wipes down an already clean spot on the counter. I left Mexico in the middle of the night with nothing. I didn't think I was going to survive. A lot of people don't make it, but I left anyway. I left my father and my mother and my sister and my brother. She rinses the cloth, continues. They tried to stop me. They said it wasn't worth my life, but I said that it was my life, and it was up to me to decide what it was worth. I said I was going to go, and either I was going to die or I was going to get a better life. Now, she rinses the cloth again and wrings it tight. I tell you, when I left my house that night, I never felt more free. Even now, and all the time that I've been here, I never felt as free as that night. And you don't regret it? Of course I regret it. A lot of bad things happened on that trip. And when my mother and father died, I couldn't go back for their funerals. Rosa doesn't know anything about where she's from. She sighs. You're not living if you're not regretting. What am I going to regret? My mind cycles through visions. My mom alone in my white room, wondering where everyone she's ever loved went. My mom alone in a green field, staring down at my grave, at my dad's grave, and my brother's grave. My mom dying all alone in that house. Carla touches my arm, and I force all the images ruthlessly from my head. I cannot bear to think about these things. If I do, I won't be able to live. Maybe I won't get sick, I whisper. That's right, she says, and hope spreads through me like a virus. And then there's a text message, picture of a text message. TTYL it's to Kara from Oliver at 5:01 a.m. Back in 2 days. Be good. Okay. That was exactly 20 pages from page 167 to 187. And of course, this is the time that Forrest has arrived. This is not good news, but this is the story of why we call him Bubby when his name is Forrest. So, we got Forrest. I named him Forrest because his eyes were green when he was a little baby. And now that he's older, his eyes are like this gold color. But when we got him, Charles was like, it's Forrest Gump. And I was like, that's not why I named him Forrest. And so then he started calling him Bubba Gump. And I didn't like that, but then we got Bubba and Bubby. And now he has like 10,000 names. I call him a muffin. I call him a chocolate muffin. I call him Fat Boy. I call him a bunny. I call him Tigger because he likes to jump around. And I think that's it. It's a lot of names for one dog, but we call him like Forrester and Fortis, like Fortis College in like Centerville or something, and then there's another one, Forrester. He's a puppy with so many names and so many personalities. Yesterday we went on a dog walk. Well, no, we took him on a walk, but he got too hot, so we brought him home, and then Charles and I went on a walk, and Forrest chewed up an entire one of Charles's notebooks, like a spiral notebook. He just chewed up everything. For no reason. We still don't really know why he did it. But he wants to be a good boy, yes. Yes. And he's happy. I think it's good for him outside. Yes, you are happy.